Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy here for the Daily Blob, where we say work from home is the future. The smartest, brightest CEOs in the world know that having employees work from home is the only way to create an effective corporation going into the next decade. Whoa, wait, what? Oh, we're not doing work from home now? Oh, we're going back to the office. Okay, I'm sorry. Every CEO knows now that work from home is completely and utterly stupid, and any whiny ass employee that wants to work from home can just go and get a job somewhere else. Yeah, and that is the world that we are currently in. I find this to be hilarious. Because every couple of years, all the talking heads come out and they start espousing this new way of doing things and how this is gonna be the future. And then for some reason it all falls apart. I've talked about this before with collisions, right? So you go back to before 2015, like between, let's say, 2010 to 2015, everything was open office spaces, right? You're not gonna have offices. You're not even gonna have cubes. You're gonna have one picnic table, and you're gonna shove 20 people at that one picnic table, which is almost, you're like, Eli, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Okay, you would shove 4 people at the picnic table. Oh my God, I would go into these open floor plans and you're just like, what the hell is going on? Literally, you'd have 4 people at like a 6-foot or 8-foot table. Not only that, everything would be cement. Cement became the decorating style for about a decade, which is actually beautiful. Don't get me wrong, cement is beautiful. But here's the thing, you need to put up some noise dampening, some vibration dampening stuff if you're going to have cement floors, because before we used to have carpeted floors, and even when you had cubicles, the cubicles had soft walls to them, and so it absorbed voices when people talked. And so you would go into these open office spaces where 4 people are at like an 8-foot table, where it's cement floors, and somebody sneezes halfway across the room and it fucking bursts your goddamn eardrum, right? Anyways, but this is the Eli, don't you understand? And I didn't understand, especially doing actual technology work. Like when I do actual technology work, I'm just like, I don't have enough brain power. I need all my brain power to know where the fuck the semicolon goes, right? Anyways, but that was the big thing. And then that turned into this whole collision deal. So the idea with collisions is offices were more effective, or companies were more effective if different people or different departments in the organization, people in different departments in the organization collided with each other. So they would put bathrooms on different floors and do all kinds of weird stuff wherever the break room was to get more people to run into each other. Because your job isn't to actually code. Your job isn't to process stuff or whatever else. The real value is colliding. Anyways, and the weird thing was, all right, so we're going through this whole collision phase. Where again, I'm just like, how do I do my job? And then COVID happens, and then everybody starts doing work from home. And all of a sudden, work from home is a thing, right? And I really want you to grasp the stupidity here. We literally went from collisions. We literally went from the focus of office design is collisions, because the real value for organizations is having different people in different departments in the company randomly bumping into each other. Like that's literally the philosophy behind collisions. We literally went from that to, no, work from home. Work from home is the future. And so for a couple of years, everybody's like, work from home. And they all pretend like it's a new thing. Like, it's called telecommuting. We've had telecommuting for decades. Basically, since we've had ISDN lines. ISDN lines were the things that brought telecommuting online. What's an ISDN line, you may say? technology that is probably older than you. So we had 56K, basically you had 56K dial-up modems. If you were fancy, right, your company might spend $300 or $400 for you to get an ISDN line. And that meant to your home, you could get 128 kilobits per second. Oh my God, what? But anyways, right, it's not exactly fast, but yeah, it's good enough for email and the web services we had back at the time. Anyways, we had telecommuting for years, right? Back when the last corporate job I had, back in the early 2000s, I remember when Comcast decided to block VPN pass-through. Right? Comcast, just as an ISP, decided anybody on a home internet connection did not need VPN pass-through. And so I remember the day the help desk fucking blew up at our company because every telecommuter that had Comcast, their VPN didn't work for some reason. Thank God I was not on the help desk. That was just hell. Anyways, and I just want you to understand, this was 2001. 2001, our help desk exploded because Comcast turned off VPN pass-through. Anyway, so we had telecommuting for years and years and years and years, and there was this whole thing, would everything go to telecommuting, or right? And there was a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, but people forgot about that. People forgot about that because that was, again, 2001. Yeah. Anyways, the important thing to understand with all of these styles is they come and they go because most of them are kind of stupid. I'll tell. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I'll explain it to you. Do you know what your employees need? Do you know what your employees need? Your employees need a relatively quiet environment to be able to do their jobs, and to be able to go to the bathroom, and to be able to have a break room where they can sit down and they can bullshit with other employees while they're trying to blow off steam. We figured that shit out like 100 years ago. We figured that shit out like 100 years ago. Anyways, the important reason that I bring this up is because more and more companies are killing work from home because it was stupid. Because it was stupid. It worked for some people. Now, I know some of my viewers are going to start screaming. They're like, work from home is great for me. Yes, for some people, work from home is great. It is a disaster for trying to manage employees in many ways. It is a disaster for trying to onboard and bring up new employees, right? You take an employee that's worked for the company for 5 years or has been a professional for 5 years. You have them telecommuting, right? You have them telecommuting, it's most likely fine. The problem is, what do you do with employees that have just walked straight out of college, right? You're taking employees that walked straight out of college, you're now putting them into a telecommuting environment, and it is just bad, right? They don't pick up the company culture, they don't meet other people, and they're in their homes getting ever more depressed as they just look at this computer screen. Why do you think the young adults nowadays are so fucking suicidal and don't want to have kids, right? Because as far as they're concerned, existence sucks. But I get it. Whatever. So I think this is interesting with Starbucks. Starbucks is the latest company to truly be killing work from home. So they had gone from work from home before, then they went to 3 days a week of working in the office. Now they're going to 4 days a week working in the office. And if you don't want to go to the office 4 days a week, you get a payout. And so this is just one of those things to consider. One of the reasons I talk about things like inertia, one of the reasons I talk about patterns is you start to see this stuff coming down the pike. And so if you've got a lease, or if you've got a house and you've got a mortgage, if you start seeing where the industry is going, you can make changes now so that you don't get brutalized when your company starts doing the exact same thing. Right? Important thing to consider. And so like with this whole death of work from home thing to understand is your company might not kill work from home, but there's a good chance in the future your company will kill work from home, or there's a good chance you're going to get laid off and then your next job isn't going to allow work from home. And I'm also going to be curious with this too, is how this is going to work on like a national level, right? So I live in Asheville right now. I did not realize when I moved to Asheville, the rest of the country was going to follow me. Because again, telecommuting had been around for 20 years as far as I was concerned. When people started talking about work from home, I didn't think it was a big fucking deal. Anyways, like the entire country, like follow me. We have so many. We have actual California refugees here. You talk to them and you're like, why are you here? Like, oh, do you know how horrible California is? Wildfires and droughts and everything else. Anyways, but a big thing is, right, they were able to have those California salaries. They were able to move to Asheville, North Carolina, and then they were able to destroy the community here in Asheville, North Carolina. They were able to take their ways of destroying communities in California and bring it here to Asheville and destroy the communities here, right? They have so much money, they spend too much money on buying houses and the rest of this. The locals can no longer afford to live in the area. And you see how this cycle goes. Well, the curious thing, and one of the things I've talked about before, is what happens when that cycle starts going in reverse, right? You have a lot of cities here, you have a lot of municipalities or all around the country that have gotten really used to property taxes on inflated property values. Right? They've gotten very used to a lot of people coming in, making that California money, and then being able to take their little cuts of that for whatever it is. What happens when all of that starts reversing? What happens when you buy a house? Like, so my wife and I are thinking about moving. We probably are going to move. It's just been... You know, the best laid plans hit adulthood. Adulthood sucks. Don't become an adult. Anyways... we're planning on moving, but one of the curious things is we're thinking about moving. Like, there's this whole question of will we buy when we get there? And we don't mind buying. We don't. There's a number of questions about whether or not to buy, but we don't mind buying. But one of my concerns is the value of properties. Right, so the value of properties there has gone up significantly since 2020. Right, like significantly. So one of the questions is do we just rent for 2 years and wait for the housing prices to collapse? Which hopefully they will, maybe they will, and then be able to buy at that point. But one of the things to be thinking about, like for yourself, right, is so we bought our house here, right? So we bought our house here before the price of everything exploded. So our house went from about 530 to at some point it was probably worth about 850, maybe 900. Probably at this point it's worth about 750. So this is one thing to be thinking about, again, with real adulthood and money and that type of thing. Is so for us. So we bought at 530. When we bought at 530, we expected to lose money. Just so you understand, when we moved to Asheville, we literally looked each other in the eye and said, if we're here for 10 years, are we willing to lose money when we sell this house? Yes. Anyways, but here's the thing. So went from this to 850, whatever, and is down to probably 700. So if we go to sell this house, we can sell this house at 850 and take a hell of a profit. We probably won't get there because the value of houses has come down. We can sell the house at 750 and still make a very good profit. Depending on how things are, once other adult stuff works itself out, we can sell for 650 and still make a very good profit. If everything goes even worse, we can sell for 550. And we're just fine. We basically come out break even, and there's very little chance that it's going to go below 550. Yay, right? And even if it does, we lose the amount of money we thought we were going to lose when we originally bought the house. Here's something for you to be thinking about. Here's something to think about. What if you bought a house like ours when it was 850? See, for me, it went from 530 to 850. So I've got a hell of a spread there where I don't really have to worry. It's basically how much profit do I take out of this house? If you bought this house for 850 and the value starts going down, the question then starts to become, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars are you able to lose on selling this house? And why that becomes important as more companies push work return to office. If you're all the way in places like Asheville, North Carolina, what the hell do you do? Right? So you have a lot of people out there. You have a lot of people out there that, you know, the office is in Seattle or San Francisco or DC or something. And so they got a house way out of the exurbs, right? They like to wake up in the morning and see horse farms. So they bought a place where there's horse farms. Now, here's the deal. It's like an hour and a half commute. It's an hour and a half commute from where they live to where the office is. Does it suck? Is it miserable? Do I not want to be them? Right? Yes. Horrible. It's also theoretically doable. Doable. Anyways, right? I wouldn't want to do it, but it is doable. So if you bought your house at $850 and the value of your house is currently $600, and you have to return to the office, you can by hook or by crook figure that crap out for a couple of years until you figure things out. What is going to become more interesting is so many places like Asheville where there is no viable way for you to commute back to the office. What happens when things start collapsing? And this is something that you have to consider. Again, a lot of kids out there don't quite understand what the Eli the Computer Guy channel is about. The Eli the Computer Guy channel is about IT professional adults. And this is something to consider. Is it time to sell your house and start renting? If you rent a house, worst case scenario, you're locked into a year lease. However bad things are, the total time you're locked in is a year, right? If you own a house, the worst things are is however much that house cost when you bought it, right? Something you can say. So Starbucks, did I already show you? I think I already showed you this. Yes, Starbucks employees to return office 4 days a week or take a payout from CNBC. Starbucks employees, corporate employees will have to return to the office 4 days a week starting in October, the company announced Monday. For workers who would prefer to leave the company instead of heading back to the office for an additional day, Starbucks is offering, quote, a one-time voluntary exit program with a cash payment, CEO Brian Nicole said in a letter to employees. And so this is going to be interesting too, as more and more companies are laying off, as more and more companies are doing voluntary exits. That's going to be more and more employees out in the world trying to get jobs. Now, one of the things that you're going to hear, right, is you're going to hear a lot from the rock stars. So there are a lot of just really impressive people in this world. I have met so many shockingly impressive people in this world. And if they take the voluntary exit, they get laid off or whatever else, they are probably going to get a job again. Here's the thing I want you to ask yourself. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. You just look in the mirror. As I used to tell my customers, I used to tell my clients, look, you do not have to tell me. I just want you to go look in the mirror and then answer these questions to yourself. Do you honestly believe that you're a rock star? When you think about the greatest minds of our generation, do you really think that's who's looking back at you in the mirror? So be careful. Be careful. Quote, we understand not everyone will agree with this approach, Nicole wrote in the announcement. Quote, we've listened and thought carefully, but as a company built on human connection and given the scale of the turnaround ahead, we believe this is the right path for Starbucks. And this is what we're going to start hearing more and more about employees getting back to return on investment. How are these companies adding, or how are these employees adding to the company's bottom line? So many employees for the past decade, if you bring up the concept of profit to them, they have a fucking heart attack. But the reality is what we're going to start seeing more and more of is these companies are looking to become more efficient, more effective, and basically reduce especially their labor costs in order to make the investors or whoever else is happy. And so this is going to be something, right? This is the paradigm shift. Under Nicole's leadership, the coffee chain has been attempting to reverse its slumping U.S. sales. His strategy is focused on simplifying the chain's menu, improving the coffee shop experience, and cutting service times to 4 minutes per drink. The turnaround has also affected the company's corporate workforce. Back in October, a little more than 2 months into Nicole's tenure, Starbucks told workers they were at risk of being fired if they didn't return to the office 3 days a week, so less than a year ago. In February, the company cut 1,100 jobs. So even after they told you to come back to the office, they then cut 1,100 jobs and said that it wouldn't fill hundreds of open positions as part of Nicole's efforts to streamline its operations. That's the other thing to keep in mind here, right? There's this idea, well, if I get laid off at this company, I can just go get hired at another company. A big thing to understand with what's going on right now with these layoffs is not only are they laying off, but they're also not hiring. You get laid off and people ain't hiring, it's not fun. Have I told you about when I got laid off as a pizza delivery driver? Hey, do you remember when I had military experience, a college degree, MCSE, 100 hours of Avaya systems training, and a whole bunch of other stuff, and I got laid off as a pizza delivery driver? That's a real story. That's a lived experience. There is nothing like what the hell has gone wrong with my life. Anyways. Streamline, Starbucks had about 16,000 employees who work outside of the store locations as of last year. So they had 16,000 employees that were work from home last year, and they are trying to bring all of those people back in-house. So it'll be curious to see how this goes. Really, honestly, what is this? This is a way to eliminate employees. All of these companies have way too many employees that are not bringing value to the company. They have to get rid of just a massive chunk of them. If they do layoffs, there's a whole bunch of legal and regulatory stuff they have to go through. On top of that, it makes investors skittish, so they don't like doing layoffs. And so doing these return to office mandates is an easy way to eliminate employees without the optics of layoffs. And we're going to be seeing more and more of this. And this is where you have to be careful right now. The economy is not good. Are we in a recession? I don't know. As I've said many times before, we have been in an economic kerfuffle since 2008. We went into the Great Recession. Our economy never went back to normal after the Great Recession. There were so many things. 1% interest rates, government running the money printer, all kinds of stupid stuff basically happened. There was this idea that the government had to get involved with the Great Recession to make sure that we didn't go into a depression. So there were all kinds of extreme measures that were taken. The issue is when the extreme measures were taken, they were not wound back very effectively, and many things were not wound back at all. And then when COVID happened, a lot of things, expanded even more. And so basically we are now in this period of time of we've got to get back to sanity. Right? And that's what all these corporations have to get back to, right? Gravity is gravity. You strap a rocket to a turkey, the damn thing's going to sail through the air, but it's not going to fly. And that's basically what's happened over the past decade and a half is we've strapped rockets to this turkey of an economy, and basically everybody's clapped because they think they taught a turkey how to fucking fly. And basically what's got to happen is we got to figure out how to take that economic turkey and we've got to figure out, it's like, okay, it's got these rockets on it, so it's soaring through the air. But the thing is, at some point, the turkey has to come back down to ground. But the turkey's not flying. If the turkey was flying, then it could do its wings and it could land and then it could go eat some worms or something. The problem is it's not flying. It has rockets on its back, so it's soaring through the air. So we have to figure out a way to get this turkey to slow down in a reasonable fashion. Basically, you can't have the turkey hit the ground at speed because then it splatters. And you can't stop the turkey in the air because then it will just fall and splatter. So we've got to figure out how to take this turkey of an economy and slow it down in such a way that it keeps airborne but doesn't fall until the exact moment it hits the ground. And then maybe at that point it'll only sprain an ankle or something like that, and it will be a survivable end to this mess. But basically, that's the issue that we're running through to right now. My advice to everybody out there is learn to solve problems. Learn to become valuable to people. Learn to find issues that people are willing to pay for to solve, and basically muck through this mess that way. I did not start a consulting company. I wound up being in Baltimore at the edge of the ghetto, paying $300 a month for a room where literally if I went 2 blocks in, I had very nice people ask me if I was lost. My entertainment was a $10 gallon of vodka every week. And basically I was college degree, MCSE, military, a whole bunch of other stuff. And as a mid-20-year-old or whatever, I was in the situation of, that got me, hey, there was this guy, Adolfo, who had talked about, knocking on doors and handing out flyers in order to become a tech consultant. And at that point, I was like, I literally have nothing to lose. There is nothing here to lose. Can't get much lower. Put out the pull tab signs, started knocking on doors. Within a month, I had quit my file clerk job at Mercy Hospital. Within 2 months, I was shopping at Whole Foods and had an apartment again. That's the reality, right? That's going out and finding problems to solve for people and getting paid. And that's what you're going to start having to focus on at this point in time. And because, it's only going to get worse. Only going to get worse. So anyways, what do you think about this? What do you think about Starbucks pushing more of this return to office? What do you think about this with so many of these companies, like not just pushing return to office, but also as they push return to office, they're like, well, if you want to do a voluntary exit, I mean, that's up to you. What do you think about that passive aggressive push towards voluntary exits? What do you think about the fact that we have literally gone from this open workspace horse crap, this collision horse crap, then work from home is the most important thing in the world, and now we're going back to return to office? What do you think about these methodologies for managing people and how they change like every 3 years? Put your thoughts down below. Whether it's whether it's a thumb up, a thumb down, a good comment, or a horrible comment, as far as YouTube is concerned, it's all an interaction. Do remember silicondojo.com. We are having the fireside chats, trying to have more and more of those. We are having David Cox, a VP for AI models for IBM. He is going to be doing the Zoom conversation on Thursday. We just had Louis Rossman on literally yesterday. His video was on the channel. So all of that exists. And with that, see y'all later.